opening arguments. And in sports, another Ohio women's basketball player received MAC Weekly honors for her solid play. Newswatch starts right now.
Good evening, I'm Delaney Ruth. Welcome to Newswatch, your source for news impacting Southeast Ohio. Tonight, there are more reasons to wash your hands often. From an incident with disinfectant in a local elementary, a school district reopening after a surge in flu cases, to a possible outbreak of the new coronavirus on a college campus. Thanks for joining us. An Athens school is now deemed safe after an error while disinfecting classrooms. The building had to be tested to make sure an improperly applied disinfectant had been completely wiped down. The Athens City Council Health Department was on site at East West Elementary today to test the level of the product QT3, a day after the custodial staff apparently failed to dilute the product before using it to clean on Monday. Superintendent Tom GIBBS says they will take steps to reassure parents this won't happen again.
I have had several people indicate to me throughout conversations the last couple of days now that they would prefer that we not use a disinfectant of this strength. And so I've directed my maintenance supervisor to not use this particular product moving forward.
The chemical was diluted with cool and room temperature water, and then wiped away Monday night. GIBBS says they will do this again tomorrow morning as an extra precaution. The Ross County School District reopened school doors today after a high number of flu cases canceled classes yesterday. The Zane Trace Local School District Superintendent says nearly 1 in 4 students were sick. The Ohio Department of Health reports that over 500 people were hospitalized due to the flu this week. The illness has shut down Miami Trace local schools this year as well. The coronavirus may be here in Ohio. 2 Miami University students are being tested for the infection, which has killed at least 100 people in China. The 2 recently traveled to China together. Only one of the students has shown potential symptoms of the virus, but the university is testing both students to be safe. The students are currently isolated in their off-campus residence awaiting the test results. Ohio Health Department Director Amy Acton says the risk to others is pretty low.
We are much more likely to see a disease of contagion of fear than the actual disease. Matter of fact, you're much more likely to get the flu or another cold right now. And as we're seeing that around the country, we have 5 confirmed cases. Again, none in Ohio.
She stresses the best course of action is to maintain good respiratory health measures such as proper hand washing and covering your mouth when coughing and sneezing. 2 colleges in Southeast Ohio just announced plans to help students live their best lives on campus. Ohio University launched a new health alert page regarding coronavirus for anyone who wants more information about fighting transmission. And Hocking College is implementing a new program in the hopes of helping students without support networks to get adjusted to discipline. This new 8-week program will be called Opportunity House, says the university's president, Betty Young. Students in the program will live in a building with a house mom, a strict 10 p.m. curfew, and a single TV so students can learn to compromise. President Young says she hopes Opportunity House will teach students how to behave in a healthy, dorm life conducive ways.
From the Newswatch Weather Center, I'm Matt Thigpen. Currently, right now in Athens, we're seeing temperatures in the upper to lower 30s, 32 degrees into the mid 30s. Cool pattern this week. We'll see cloudy skies and we'll see a warm up coming into the weekend. Anything else coming our way? Well, the visible satellite looks like this. Cloudy skies dominating much of the region across much of the northern tier of the U.S. Now, the jet stream right now looking like this, pretty much zonal throughout the United States and into, we see a system will begin to move into the northwest part of the United States. Right down in Florida, we see a low just off the coast, and that'll continue to move off out into the Atlantic. Nothing here to give us any showers or thunderstorms. Or any snow rather than that. We saw a few sleet pellets out there earlier today. Those have dwindled throughout the evening hours, and we will continue to drop those temperatures down. Once again, those clouds will keep us into the 20s throughout the evening hours, into the upper 20s, but the cold pattern does persist into tonight and into the day tomorrow. We'll see those cloudy skies continue throughout the next few days, and maybe we'll see some sunshine into the day on Thursday, and into the weekend. We got to watch out for our next chance for rain, Delaney. It's finally been a dry week, but now we're going to see some rain for the weekend, maybe a little bit of snow on Friday night.
Snow? I don't like the sound of that. Yeah. Well, that's too bad. Hopefully it stays dry for us here.
Oh, yeah.
Thanks so much, Matt.
Thanks, Delaney.
Ohio Governor Mike DeWine has signed a new military employment bill. It mandates that the state will issue a license or certificate to any military member or spouse who is already licensed to practice a trade in another state. This includes professionals like teachers, nurses, dental assistants, and home health aides. DeWine says the bill will offer better opportunities to military families.
Military service is a very, very high calling that brings with it benefits, but frequent relocation can place a burden on the families.
DeWine went on to say this will eliminate red tape, making it easier for service members and their spouses to resume their careers in Ohio. Police say there are no new leads in the case of a missing Ohio woman who hasn't been seen since leaving a family gathering on Christmas. According to relatives, 26-year-old Paris Hobson left her grandparents' house in Massillon on December 25th. They say she claimed she needed to clear her head and left her cell phone behind. The detective at Massillon Police Department says they will continue to follow any new leads, and they don't have any reason to suspect foul play. An 8,300-foot-long levee is coming to the flood-prone city of Milton, West Virginia. Governor Jim Justice says the levee will divide the lower Mud River from Milton. The state is pledging $43 million to the project, which will be allocated over the next couple of years. Federal matching funds will contribute another $90 million. The levee will protect more than 600 buildings and other infrastructure in Milton. Milton had 6 major floods in between 1913 and 2015. A bill passed by the West Virginia Senate could make serious animal abuse a felony. The Senate passed the bill today 31 to 2 and sent it to the House of Delegates with no debate. The bill would create a charge of aggravated cruelty for animals for seriously hurting or withholding food, shelter, or medical treatment from an animal. It would also make torturing or mutilating an animal a crime punishable by up to 5 years in prison. The Kentucky House of Representatives Monday introduced legislation aimed at getting people off public assistance and into the workforce. House GOP leaders say the measure is aimed at the state's low workforce participation rate. The bill seeks to resolve situations that discourage some people from working longer hours or getting higher paying jobs because they could lose public benefits. Coming up, several people face punishment for espionage. U.S. officials say China is becoming a larger threat to the United States' economic success with spies. And the Senate's impeachment trial enters day 8. The Senate prepares its question and answer period after President Trump's legal team wraps up arguments. Stay with us.
The mysterious outer worlds, the solar system's strangest realm.
This is a region of the solar system that we really had very little information about.
Small planets should run out of energy and stop evolving billions of years ago. Pluto didn't read any of those textbooks.
The planets, ice worlds, on Nova.
On American Experience.
America was the Wild West for putting all kinds of chemicals into food.
Before Wigley, there was nobody testing to see whether something was harmful or not.
The Poison Squad was a way of getting public attention for safe food legislation.
You have 12 young men eating poison for the people of the United States.
The Poison Squad on American Experience.
The first blockbuster film revered as a cinematic masterpiece.
D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, he's trying to have an effect, and one of the things you feel most strongly is fear.
Exposed as a device for propaganda.
He was a recruiting tool by the Klan.
One of the efforts was to try to get it shut down.
We want to see the birth of a nation.
People look at this film and they say, this is what we are fighting against.
Birth of a movement.
In Zimbabwe, an unusual bond is forming.
I was filming, and the cubs came right up to me.
And that was how the whole thing started.
Now we can follow this wild cheetah family extremely close up.
It wasn't long and I was walking with them, sleeping with them, and even following them on the hunt.
Witness firsthand the heartbreaks and triumphs a cheetah mother faces raising the next generation.
Are charging 3 people with spying for China. They unveiled the indictments in Boston today. One is a professor at Harvard. Another is a researcher at Boston University. Officials discovered she's a lieutenant with the People's Liberation Army. And the third suspect tried to smuggle vials of biological matter out of the U.S. Special Agent Joseph Bonavolanta say officials will continue to crack down on spying efforts.
No country poses a greater or more severe and long-term threat to our national security and economic prosperity than China. China's communist government's goal, simply put, is to replace the United States as the world's leading superpower, and they're breaking the law to get there.
The Department of Justice is expressing increasing concerns about Chinese espionage efforts.
The Senate will convene as a court of impeachment.
A third and final date for the president's defense in his impeachment trial.
The bar for impeachment cannot be set this low.
A source close to the president's legal team says they're optimistic there won't be any witnesses called, despite leaks of an upcoming book by former National Security Advisor John Bolton that says Trump ordered a hold on military aid to Ukraine until the country agreed to investigate former Vice President Joe Biden.
It is not a game of leaks and unsourced manuscripts.
Democrats still hopeful that the new information will at least convince some moderates to join them.
Every day, some new revelation emphasizes our request for relevant witnesses and documents in this trial.
Even before witnesses, senators will have a 16-hour question and answer period. After that, a 4-hour debate, equally divided between the House managers and the White House counsel on whether to move to consider witnesses and documents.
I'd like to hear from John Bolton, and I think the idea that's been expressed in the media about having each side be able to choose a witness or maybe more than one witness on a paired basis, it has some merit.
But the majority of Republicans still backing the president. In Washington, I'm Camila Bernal reporting.
The Senate's question and answer period will begin tomorrow. The tragic death of basketball legend Kobe Bryant has millions of people around the world grieving and waiting for answers. Fans have been flocking to the Staples Center in Los Angeles to pay their respects to Bryant. Connor Powell is there with the latest.
Kobe, Kobe, Kobe.
For the Los Angeles icon taken too soon, the outpouring of love and support extending well beyond the world of basketball.
He had that type of leadership quality, and he had so much more to give along those lines.
Stars, celebrities, and casual fans celebrating the uniqueness of Kobe Bryant, who died Sunday in a helicopter crash along with his 13-year-old daughter Gianna and 7 others. His former teammate Shaquille O'Neal at a loss for words.
I'm not doing well. I'm sick. I haven't eaten. I haven't slept. I'm looking at all the tapes. I'm sick right now.
Tuesday night's Laker game against the Clippers was postponed. The team is still grappling with the devastating loss, not yet ready to return to work, as millions mourn his death. Those who crossed paths with Bryant sharing special moments about what he meant to them.
He was there for me. He was my mentor, my friend, and it's just heartbreaking to see and to hear what has happened to him and his daughter.
And how he dedicated his life after retirement to mentoring young players, including his daughter's team.
Patience, man. They're 12. You just got to be patient, let them develop, let them grow.
In Los Angeles, I'm Connor Powell.
We'll continue to update you as more information comes surrounding the helicopter crash. A police department is introducing shelter pups to their community. It's all with the hope of finding them a new permanent home. And that story is still ahead.
Next on Newswatch, we'll see a warm-up coming, and I'll give you an extended forecast when our next chance for rain is. But first, here's a look at stocks of local interest.
On American Experience.
America was the Wild West for putting all kinds of chemicals into food.
Before Weigly, there was nobody testing to see whether something was harmful or not.
The Poison Squad was a way of getting public attention for safe food legislation.
You have 12 young men eating poison for the people of the United States.
The Poison Squad on American Experience.
The first blockbuster film revered as a cinematic masterpiece.
D.W. Griffith's Birth of a Nation, he's trying to have an effect, and one of the things you feel most strongly is fear.
Exposed as a device for propaganda.
Used as a recruiting tool by the Klan.
One of the efforts was to try to get it shut down.
We want to see the birth of a nation.
People look at this film and they say, this is what we are fighting against.
Birth of a movement.
All over the country, Americans are fed up and rebelling against the politicians and the power brokers, fighting against Citizens United.
We do not believe that corporations are people.
Voter suppression.
We will never stop battling.
Can ordinary voters halt what many see as politicians rigging elections? Can it work?
The mysterious outer worlds, the solar system's strangest realm.
This is a region of the solar system that we really had very little information about.
Small planets should run out of energy and stop evolving billions of years ago. Pluto didn't read any of those textbooks.
The planets, ice worlds, on Nova.
Right now across the region, we're seeing temperatures into the lower 30s. We're dropping down slightly below freezing across much of the region. You can see we saw some scattered sleet across much of the region, just a few light areas, just to get the ground wet, but the ground temperature is just too warm to make it stick, so no messy conditions out there right now. Across much of the region, we can see we are seeing cloudy skies throughout the area. Across the country, our only system that we're worried about is around the Oklahoma area and to Kansas City, where Dodge City, Kansas is seeing 9 inches of rain, nearly a foot of snow. They're under a winter storm warning as we speak, but that won't last long because it will definitely warm up there in the Central Plains. Looking at our evening temperatures, we're going to cool down to about 27 degrees. It'll be a chilly evening. We'll see dry and calm conditions. We'll just have that light west-northwest wind at about 0 to 5 miles per hour. Across much of the region and the U.S., we will see cloudy conditions persist into tonight and even into tomorrow and into the next day and the next day. We won't see our next chance of rain come until Saturday, and maybe possibly even Friday night. We might see a few snowflakes move into the region. But as for tomorrow, we'll take a look at that. 40 degrees, few peaks of sun. We'll see dry conditions. Again, those cloudy skies. Again, a few peaks of sunshine will get us up to that 40-degree mark, just above normal. We should be around 37 degrees for our average temperature. And today we were just above that at about 37 degrees, so right on par for this time of the year. And we'll just drop down into the 20s, upper 20s to lower 30s as we head into the evening hours. Looking at our almanac for today, we hit a low of 33 degrees this morning, and we should be around 25 for our low. And looking at our extended forecast, 40 degrees on Wednesday. Those cloudy skies persist. 27 we drop tomorrow night, so another chilly evening. 43 on Thursday, and yet again another chilly evening. Cloudy skies persist throughout the end of our week. We see a few light flurries move into our region on Saturday, as we'll see a low Saturday morning of about 31 degrees, and we'll see a chance for rain as a system persists down to our south and east, moves up, allow the Appalachian chains we'll warm up to about 45 degrees for Saturday. Heading into Sunday, we'll see a mix of rain and snow. And to start off next week, we can see that warm up near 60 degrees. We'll be at 57 for the high on Monday and 54 on Tuesday. We'll see those partly cloudy skies persist into next week. But again, those above average temperatures that we've been talking about this whole winter season will continue into next week. Delaney?
Thanks so much, Matt. The Williamsburg, Virginia Police Department has some new furry faces hanging around. It's all part of their Canine for a Day program, an effort to get shelter dogs forever homes. The program was mimicked from another police department outside of the state. Officials say it's proven to be a big success. Aisha Tolliver has more.
His 9-year-old pit bull mix, CJ. He's been at the Heritage Humane Society since November. Most days he watches as families pass him by, but today he's got someone that's been waiting to meet him. CJ is going on a trip, and his road dog is Williamsburg Senior Police Officer Andrea Holliday.
She comes in first thing in the morning. We have her pick up one of our adoptable dogs, and they get the entire morning to go out and really explore Williamsburg.
It's all part of the Canine for a Day program through a partnership with the shelter and police department. The goal is to get a shelter dog exposed out in the community so it has a better chance at finding a forever home.
And all of the adoptable pets that she had taken out in 2019 have been adopted out.
And we're off.
CJ's first stop was a nice stroll down downtown Williamsburg.
They want to walk, to get their zoomies out, get their energy out, and they just have a great time.
Then it was time to buckle up again and make some new friends at City Hall.
And look who I have today. This is CJ.
Holliday says it's not only rewarding for the pup, but also those they meet along the way.
You should see people's faces when they stop, you know, they get the smile on their face as soon as you see them. So it kind of makes other people's day too.
Then they hit other places like the police department and local businesses. And to top it all off, each dog gets to chow down on a cheeseburger.
I just think it's amazing that they get to go and experience what every dog should experience. You know, a home with a family that loves them and that they're going to be taken care of for the rest of their life.
Hello everybody, coming up in sports, the Ohio men's basketball team looks to get back on track tonight against Northern Illinois. Hear from Coach Jeff Bowles later on. And then right after the break, for the second straight week, an Ohio women's basketball player earned MAC Weekly Honors. Find out who, coming up next. And be sure to stay tuned at the WOUB. Here's a look at what's coming up tonight on your public television station.
On American Experience.
America was the Wild West for putting all kinds of chemicals into food.
Before WOUB, there was nobody testing to see whether something was harmful or not.
The Poison Squad was a way of getting public attention for safe food legislation.
You have 12 young men eating poison for the people of the United States.
The Poison Squad on American Experience.
I have a lovely niece who's afraid you'll find something scandalous.
On Finding Your Roots, Sigourney Weaver.
I can feel the energy.
Justina Machado.
I have a blank slate.
And Amy Ryan.
I'm English, Polish, and Irish. As a kid, I referred to myself as a mutt.
3 actors.
You're kidding!
That's true. And the secrets that hid their ancestry.
It's incredible!
Until now.
Well done. You found a scandal.
Finding Your Roots.
In Zimbabwe, an unusual bond is forming.
I was filming, and the cubs came right up to me. And that was how the whole thing started.
Now we can follow this wild cheetah family extremely close up.
It wasn't long, and I was walking with them, sleeping with them, and even following them on the hunt.
Witness firsthand the heartbreaks and triumphs a cheetah mother faces raising the next generation.
The mysterious outer worlds, the solar system's strangest realm.
This is a region of the solar system that we really had very little information about.
Small planets should run out of energy and stop evolving billions of years ago. Pluto didn't read any of those textbooks.
The planets, ice worlds, on Nova.
For the second straight week, an Ohio women's basketball player is taking home MAC Weekly Honors. Erica Johnson lit up the scoreboard in her 2 games last week and was named MAC East Co-Player of the Week. Last Wednesday, Johnson scored a career-high 32 points at Northern Illinois while shooting 9 of 16 from the field and 10 of 12 from the free throw line. Johnson's hot shooting returned home to the Convo on Saturday as she tallied 22 points in Ohio's win against Bowling Green. With CCU Hooks earning honors last week and Johnson this week, the dynamic duo continues to roll in MAC play.
I wouldn't want to do it with nobody else. That's been my best friend since the 8th grade, so it just feels good to see our dreams come true.
Yeah, it's been tremendous, and as I previously mentioned, we have a lot of kids that can score and a lot of kids that need touches, so neither her nor CC in a situation where they can shoot the ball 25, 30 times a game. We're just not good when they do. But I think both of them have made the most of their shots and their opportunities, and their shot selection has been tremendous.
At the Convo to Toledo and Akron. The Bobcats travel to Central Time Zone to face Northern Illinois. Tip-off is at 8 o'clock. The Huskies are currently 11-9 on the season and 4-3 in MAC play. After Lorin Christian Jackson put up 35 on Ohio on Saturday, the Bobcats prepare to face another dangerous point guard in Eugene German. The senior averages almost 20 points per game while shooting over 40% from the field.
Unfortunately, it's like every team's got a guard like that, and we got to be smarter of paying more attention to those guys, getting in the gaps on defense, not letting them go one-on-one. And the other night I thought Jackson hit some tough shots, and he hit some layups. I don't know how he made them. But when a kid gets confidence, it seems like they throw it up and it goes in. And we've probably given up too many career highs and season highs, for my liking.
Some girls basketball action last night. Athens and Nelsonville York met up in the Plains. Laura Mandrick gets a step-back 3 to fall. She had 18 and became Athens' 4th highest all-time scorer. Now Haley Hurd gets the old-fashioned three-point play for the Lady Buckeyes. Hurd had a big second half and finished with 21 points to guide NY to a 63-44 victory over Athens. Now over to Stewart. Federal Hawking hosting Southern. The Lady Lancers are known to be led by Paige Tolson, but another name appeared on the stat sheet. Alexis Smith cashes in one of her 5 steals for a bucket. She finished with double figures on the night. Then Smith gets her own rebound, and then it rolls home. The Lady Lancers win 58-38. The boys are back in action tonight. Here are the games Hardwood Heroes will be covering. Among those games, Athens, coming off a big win against Alexander, they will face Nelsonville York. The Spartans look to get back on track as they host Wellston. The last TVC Ohio game is River Valley at Meigs. Go to woub.org/heroes for coverage of all these games. Now, Delaney, just like last night, I'm kind of excited to see what some of these boys games are going to be like. I'm excited to see Hardwood Heroes go out there and see what coverage they give us.
Definitely. So what game are you most looking forward to, Brian?
I'm really excited to see if Alexander can bounce back after that tough loss to their rival, Athens.
Oh, that's great. Thanks so much, Brian. Talk about flushing money down the toilet. Fans of the late Frank Sinatra shelled out thousands of dollars to purchase his gold-seated commode at an auction over the weekend. One of the Italian marble gold-seated toilets fetched more than $4,000. They were among numerous items auctioned Sunday. The furnishings came from Sinatra's massive executive suite at the former Golden Nugget Casino in Atlantic City. He sang there for several years after casino mogul Steve Wynn opened the hotel in 1980. According to the auction house, no one besides Sinatra was allowed to stay in the suite when Sinatra wasn't in residence.
Taking a final look at weather, we can see that we're going to see some, we're going to miss that golden sunshine. Speaking of golden toilets, we're going to miss that golden sunshine for the next few days. We might see a few peaks of sun here tomorrow. But tonight we're going to see 27 degrees. We're going to see chilly conditions, but we'll be dry at least. I know we saw a little bit of sleet here in Athens earlier this afternoon, but that's long gone. We will drop down to, again, 27 across much of the region. Looking at our 7-day forecast, we see 40 degrees on Wednesday. Cloudy skies persist. Thursday, we see the same story with a few more peaks of sun, 43 degrees. Ahead of our next system on Friday, we warm up to about 45 degrees, 45 on Saturday. Might see a few morning flakes flying before it transitions off into the rain. Sunday, we'll see 47 degrees, 57 on Monday. Beautiful conditions. Delaney, how does that look for you?
Thanks so much, Matt. And that does it for our broadcast this evening. Thanks for watching. I'm Delaney Ruth. Stay tuned for the PBS News Hour.
Experience.
America was the Wild West for putting all kinds of chemicals into food.
Before WOUB, there was nobody testing to see whether something was harmful or not.
The Poison Squad was a way